When we last talked about Goranger, we focused on the show's early history and how the basic concept of a 5-member hero team evolved to become a massive television hit and the beginning of a new pop culture phenomenon. In this follow-up video, we'll take a closer look at the second half of the series and the impact Goranger had beyond its original broadcast. With the defeat of General Temujin in episode 42, Goranger wrapped up its third story arc. By this point, the series had found its stride, and through several refinements and iterations of its core ideas, the concept that would eventually come to be known as the Super Sentai series started to take shape. One noticeable change during the second half of the show was a pivot towards a more humorous presentation and over-the-top designs for the masked monsters. While they remained a deadly threat to the Goranger, they were presented to the audience in a surreal-like fashion, whereby the monsters had a dual quality to them. One was their mission focus ready to destroy the Goranger demeanor, the other a sillier way of operating that leaned into their various themes. A great example of this is Locomotive Mask from episode 46. His mission was to locate the Goranger's underground base, and he was fully dedicated to accomplishing this task. However, the way he acts and is presented to us leans heavily into the train team, which resulted in some over-the-top scenes between the masked monster and Goranger. Not to mention the legendary scenes where he is running through automobile and pedestrian traffic in urban areas. Another change to the program's format was the expanded use of miniatures and scenes featuring mecha battles. These were informed by the show's sponsors and its commercial success, which translated into a merchandising bonanza around the characters and their vehicles. Episode 43 kicks off the series' fourth story arc as Volcano Mask General Magman takes over the Black Cross Army's operations, and the Black Cross Führer reveals himself for the first time. The focus of their plans would change from espionage and weapon stealing focused operations to defeating the Goranger. For example, from this point in the series to the last episode, a consistent goal for the Black Cross Army was to find where the Goranger's base was hidden. Additionally, this story arc introduces the Black Cross Army's mobile fortress Navarone. Commanded by General Magman, this mobile base could easily travel underground and surface anywhere to launch surprise attacks on Eagle and the Goranger. Navarone would become a core element of this story arc and expand on the show's use of miniatures. But it's not just the Black Cross Army that is getting a mid-series upgrade. The Goranger team would also acquire new weapons and equipment to help them counter General Magman. These include 2 new vehicles, Barry Dream and Barry Tank, which give the Goranger tremendous firepower in the air and on the ground. The Goranger suits would also get an upgrade with new 150,000 volt power ones that also packed updated and more powerful versions of their previous personal weapons. But their strongest power-up would come by way of the new Goranger Hurricane Attack. This finisher weapon was a football-shaped, high-power grenade that could take on the shape of an object that the masked monsters would at first welcome, but then be destroyed by. For example, delivering a toy ballerina that would play a song incorrectly on Piano Mask in episode 71. This 4-story arc would run through episode 54 when General Magman and the mobile fortress Navarone are defeated. The final story arc is kicked off in episode 55 when the now awakened Commander-in-Chief, Golden Mask, takes over the Black Cross Army's operations. The Goranger also experienced a big change, as Goranger is assigned as an instructor in Eagle's Kyushu branch. He is replaced by new Goranger, Kumano Daigoro. In real life, this happened as a result of a scheduling conflict for Goranger actor Baku Hatakeyama. The actor was scheduled to appear in a play following the anticipated end of Goranger's broadcast, but when the series was extended due to its popularity, they needed to make a temporary change to accommodate the actor's schedule. This resulted in a 12-week break for Hatakeyama from the series. During this final arc, many of the Black Cross Army's plots harken back to the earlier part of the series, with operations that include assassinating scientists, building powerful bombs, and biological attacks. To achieve their ever more ambitious goals, they deploy two new major additions to their arsenal: the Black Cross Castle and the aerial battleship Battler. Their ground forces are also enhanced with the arrival of their new foot soldier unit, the Black Cross Ninja. The Goranger, in parallel to the Black Cross Army's upgrades, adds to their arsenal with the addition of their new vehicle, Bari Kikyun, a high-powered hot air balloon equipped with stealth capabilities and a mechanical claw that allowed the Goranger to carry out secretive missions undetected. But the Goranger also experienced their first major loss, with the death of Daigoro, who falls at the hands of Can Opener Mask. This tragic moment is short-lived, however, as Oiwa returns to help the Goranger defeat Can Opener Mask. On March 26, 1977, the show would bow with episode 84, which featured the final clash between the Goranger and the Black Cross Army. 2 weeks after the broadcast of Goranger's final episode, Jakka Dengettai would premiere in the same time slot, with an ambition to build on Goranger's template and success. The Goranger's story, however, would not come to its full conclusion until March 18, 1978. It was on this date that the epilogue movie Jakka Dengettai vs. Goranger premiered at Toei's Spring Manga Festival. Following this theatrical release, the characters will go on to be dormant for the next 23 years. Then, in 2001, the Goranger team would start to reappear at key moments to help, inspire, or lead their successors in times of need. These include Aka Ranger, Owl Ranger, plus the Goranger Mecha appearing in the 2001 movie Gao Ranger vs. Super Sentai. In 2011, Aka Ranger would lead all of the Super Sentai teams against the Space Empire Sangyak in the Gokaiger TV series and the theatrical movie Gokaiger, Goseiger, Super Sentai 199 Hero Great Battle. In the 2011 movie Kaisoku Sentai Gokaiger the Movie, The Flying Ghost Ship, Baseball Mask would reappear as an antagonist. At the end of episode 7 of Shuriken Sentai Ninninger. In 2012, the Goranger and Baseball Mask would reappear in the theatrical movie Kamen Rider Super Sentai Superhero Tyson. In 2021, Aka Ranger also appeared in Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger the Movie, Red Battle, All Sentai Rally. And most recently, Aka Ranger appears in Saber plus Zenkaiger Superhero Senki. Himitsu Sentai Goranger was a tremendous television ratings, merchandising, and pop culture success. During its broadcast, it would inspire a short-lived burst of programs trying to capitalize on its team of heroes concept. But more importantly, for the next 45 years, it would inform the cinematic formula of Toei Productions' tokusatsu heroes. And of course, it would go on to become the first chapter of the 45 series-strong Super Sentai universe.